Greetings. I am Tabin of a Mind Transformed, and this is Manna for Your Journey. Let's talk about success. That thing that is hard to define, a lot of people want, and it looks different for almost everybody. In the world, success is often determined by the outcome of whatever the action or the decision may be. If you're a football fan, or you know a football fan, somebody that watches football, oftentimes we'll say a coach made a good call or sent in a good play based on the outcome of the play. Instead of it just being a good decision on its own, the world can only define success by its outcome. If it worked, it was good and successful. But a person could do the exact same thing and it doesn't work, and then it's considered not successful because the world judges it based on outcome. Unfortunately, this determination of success has found its way into the church and into the hearts and minds and lives of Christians. Success for us has to be different and viewed differently, has to be viewed through the lens and the context of God and His Word. Proverbs 16:33 says that the lots are cast into the lap, but every decision is from the Lord. Okay, let's modernize it a little bit. It also, another translation will say, the dice is thrown, but its outcome is determined by the Lord. And a version that I like, that I read in an older Bible, probably before it was updated a bit, becoming more modernized, was that we flip the coin, God decides the outcome. That is success for Christians. Whatever our action is, whatever we do, it has to be according to God and His Word. He determines the outcome. We don't get to determine the outcome of our actions. What we're responsible for is just the action. Breathe in, exhale. That takes a lot of weight off of the shoulders of Christians. God is the one that'll determine how a thing works and how well it works. Even we look at Paul writes, I plant, Apollos waters, but God brings the increase. Paul and Apollos were a part of the actions, but however those actions turned out was fully in God's control. We tend to try to use a world's view of success in our own personal lives. So if we're obedient to God and it doesn't work out, we'll have people say, well, that must not have been God's will, because we're still trying to say something is or isn't God based on how it turned out. That's not true. We cannot determine the will of God based on the outcome. Now, if we say God said this was going to happen and it didn't happen, yes, we can determine that wasn't God, because God doesn't miss. God doesn't get things wrong. God is not a man that He should lie, nor is He the son of man that He should repent. But when it comes to God saying, go talk to this person, go plant this seed, go apply for this job, go do these things, and if the outcome wasn't what we expected, it doesn't mean God didn't say it. We assume a certain result or level of success that we say without even asking God. If God says go witness to this person, we expect that that person is going to give their life to Christ in that moment. And if they don't, we'll walk away and be like, well, I guess I didn't hear from God. Says who? What if your role what if your role was just to plant the seed or water it? But God's going to bring the increase later. God may have told us to start an initiative, to start writing things down, or start to do certain things, and if we don't see initial results, we question whether or not it's God. My brothers and sisters, I'm here to help you in this moment. You do not determine the outcome. You control the action. What we have to get in our mind is obedience over outcomes. Obedience over outcomes. If we are obedient to what God asked us to do, we are successful. Let me say it again for you. If we are obedient to what God asked us to do, we are successful. The results will happen in due time. If we plant, if we sow, we will reap in due season. Outcomes may be delayed for the effort that we're putting in now, but the version of success is the fact that we were obedient to God. That's all that matters. So when you're thinking about something, you're trying to determine whether or not it was God's will, I just want you to remember this simple saying: flip the coin. That means just be obedient. Flip the coin, and whatever happens, whether that's heads or tails, However that works out, when I mean heads or tails, however that works out, all you're responsible for is your obedience. God will decide the outcome. And as long as we're doing our part, we're successful no matter what happens. Be obedient. In those moments where you're not sure, just tell yourself, I'll flip the coin. Just operate and be obedient to what God said. And whatever happens past that is not your concern. God did not equip us with that part of it. We're obedient. God will bring whatever result he desires. Flip the coin. Roll the dice. Cast the lot. You're only responsible for your action. God will handle everything else. Success is not what the world determines. Success for us is being obedient to God. Well, that's all I have for you today. Again, my name is Taban of a Mind Transformed, and this is Manna for Your Journey. Be blessed.